What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, OTB Nation? Welcome into episode number 385 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia Podcast Network. KB and Deej coming at you this week. Deej in a new setup for this week. Hoots is in Utah. Hoots on the ground this weekend, baby. His turn, assholes.
Yes, sir.
But we got a fun one for you. We're going to recap Fairfield, which was just a wild, wild weekend across the board. We will kind of set things up for where we go here this weekend in Utah. We'll get to shout our picks, and then we have some NLL news that it really feels like, Deej, we were talking pre-show about this, but it really feels like we are the only members of the lacrosse media world that cover the NLL that are like calling this for what it is and not like, for lack of a better term, like licking boots for people, because like it's genuinely crazy the amount of just like boot licking and defending of owners versus players that I have seen in this whole thing. We'll talk about it for sure, but it's got both of you and I and Hoots. Hoots, I think, more so than anybody, extremely heated. But we'll talk about it for sure. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod. We did surpass 1,700 followers on Twitter, which is huge. Keep it going. We're very close to 1,000 on Instagram. We're about like 250 away, which means once we get there and 100 subscribers on the OTB YouTube channel, Throwback Duck merch gets put on the store. So if you want that, you gotta make it happen. Deej, I've been in preliminary talks because we are going to introduce a new mini segment this week, something we discuss, our Angry Shots Lacrosse Club. I have been in talks with an artist about getting an Angry Shots Lacrosse Club logo design created for us to use for said branding. The one I told you about.
Yeah, and I'll say if that happens to work out, I may or may not be in the works of doing something else, and I may need a name for a summer travel team. So Angry Shots Lacrosse Club,
pretty flago
with the right branding,
just saying,
might just be perfect.
But yeah, we have our inaugural member of the Angry Shots Lacrosse Club for 2025 this week, because I think there's one answer and one answer only from Fairfield, and we witnessed it firsthand, more so you than I. We'll get into the reasons why. But you heard it in a lucid, awake dream.
Chill. The people don't gotta know that.
You were what the hell did they call that? When like Spider-Man and you were astral projecting.
Yeah, pretty much.
You were like Spider-Man and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
I've been to enough of these to where I could close my eyes and kind of visualize what's happening if I can hear it.
Or no, that was Spider-Man No Way Home when Doctor Strange like kicks him out of his body. That was you.
Yes.
But yeah, make sure you guys are following us. Follow Deej on Twitter at SCS_NextGreat. Follow Hoots at Hoot Sports Media, both on Instagram and Twitter. He posts his selects on Instagram first, so you don't want to miss out on those. And of course, you can follow me at KBICCL311 on Twitter. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the pod, Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave us a 5-star review. It goes a long way for helping this show continue to grow. Helps more people find OTB plus all of our podcasts here at Underground Sports Philadelphia. And of course, subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's where you get full video episodes of this show every single week, full video episodes of every show on our network, except for one, because the house show with Pat Pitts has its very own YouTube channel now that we will be posting those episodes on that channel. Go check that out. First episode dropped today as you guys are listening to this. Every Friday, the house show with Pat Pitts. It's going to be a lot of fun. But subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are 13 subscribers away from our next 100 subscriber milestone, which means a merch design gets unlocked there as well. Our Moonshot Mania merch will be on the store once we get to 1,100. So 13 more people subscribe. Bada bing, bada boom. Moonshot Mania merch gets put on our storefront. And of course, guys, this show is brought to you by and proudly presented by our good pals over at Rita's in Sewell, New Jersey. Deej, I got to tell you, I don't know what the temperature is where you're currently located right now in your undisclosed location, but it is absolutely scorching hot today here in the old Vineland, New Jersey. It is 92 degrees, but the feels like is closing in on 100. It's ungodly hot. The humidity is crazy, and it's only going to be like that for today. It's a weird one-off, super scorching hot day, but Rita's is the place to help you cool down with their delicious Italian ice, the gelatis, the blendinis, all of their delicious treats. It's the best way to beat the heat in this summertime weather. And coming up on July 28th, the Gummy Bear Italian Ice flavor is getting unlocked from the vault. You don't want to miss out on that. Check out ritasIce.com or visit our friends at Rita's in Sewell at 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell, New Jersey, and tell them that Outside the Box sent you. Tell them that Underground Sports Philadelphia sent you. And if you go to ritasIce.com, you can also see the entire catalog of flavors and nutritional facts that Rita's has for you to peruse and kind of sift through to make sure you're good to go with their delicious treats. Again, that's 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell, New Jersey. And we thank Rita's in Sewell for being a proud presenting partner of OTB. Deej, how we feeling? Last time I saw you, it was a lot of I'll put it this way, from the outside perspective for the people, I'll give them Deej had his first case of I'm getting older and need to drink far more water than I have been accustomed to when I'm out in summertime heat. And I know you had mentioned that it had been happening to you all summer when you've been coaching and everything. And I was like, yeah, brother, that's your first check mark of like you're getting old and you need to take in more water because you're sweating it out at a faster rate. Because guess what? I've been there.
Dog, all summer I've just been dying. And like I don't understand because like I'm drinking water, I'm drinking Gatorade, I'm taking care of myself, or so I think. And I just get these alarming migraines. And like I'll like take meds, I'll drink more water, I'll drink caffeine, I'll have chocolate, like I'll do like all the stuff I'm supposed to do and just nothing. Sometimes
as Kendrick Lamar once said, it's not enough.
Literally, it is not enough sometimes. Take a nap. Sometimes that doesn't work either. Like my body temperature just has to get regulated before I feel okay again. This weekend, it was hot. I was drinking water, like especially when I got this specific headache. KB saw me drink an entire bottle of water right before
and a bottle of Gatorade.
And a bottle of Gatorade, and I still was just like I don't know what's going on with that, but yeah. So for about an hour, I was just asleep, like during the game. Like I mean, this is like I think it's like the middle of the first quarter into like a little after halftime. It like literally, I mean, the music's going. They're doing all the announcements. Kids are yelling. Players are screaming. Balls are hitting pipes. Like I can hear all of this, but I am dead asleep. It was an interesting experience, but I woke up well rested, so well rested actually that like people like looked at me and were like, "Dude, what just happened?" I was like, I don't know.
It's like
I don't know. I died for a second and came back to life. Like shout out Dr. TJ.
I was just going to say that. Like He followed us on Instagram this week too, and he followed me on Instagram. Dr. Thomas James Reed was the person who did the land acknowledgement this past weekend in Fairfield, and DJ had like a lengthy conversation with him after like yeeting his guts up in a trash can on the sideline. And on top of that, we will get into like everyone and their mother who knew who we were this weekend, which was just like surreal. Dr. Thomas James Reed knew who we were, which is just crazy, especially since he's a West Coast guy. Me watching you talk to him after you were like incapacitated and you seemed perfectly fine, that was my first like in-person experience of like lacrosse is truly the medicine game, because you had a Native American doing a land acknowledgement and just having a full-blown conversation with you and like making sure you were good, and just the conversation with him made you feel like 1,000 times better just from the interaction. And like, I mean this genuinely, so I hope this doesn't come across like poorly to everyone. Like, it was insane to watch, because at one moment I wasn't sure Deej was gonna like make it sitting on the sideline. Like, that's how like out of it he was. But then he literally had a conversation with Dr. TJ, and he was completely, it was like the coolest experience to just witness. And like, that to me was like, even though like neither of you had a lacrosse stick in your hand, like I was like, that's the medicine game right there, hands
like,
down.
So we had Sally's before the game in the hotel room.
Which, shout out to Sally's. The Up Eats was, for me, fantastic.
No, it was still good. I managed to get down a slice and a half before I was like, okay, my body is just like, this is too greasy right now. And that's what I threw up, was like all of the water and Gatorade I had mixed with that, and then the heat, and my body just was like, no, we're done with this. So that all came up. I'm literally like head in this garbage can.
Everyone's gonna love hearing this part of the episode. I'm gonna put in the description at like 12:50. People who are squeamish, just fast forward.
I'm literally like head in this garbage can. It's coming out. Most of it is liquid. Like, y'all know, like the dehydrated, like, your body is just detoxing itself. So, and then like, they're standing there, they're talking, and then they just go, "Oh my God, is he okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I just like had some really greasy pizza earlier, and my body's not agreeing with it." And they're like, "Okay, like, you want some water?" I was like, "Yeah, I got some over there." They're like, "Here, take this." I literally just like shoved this water into my hand. I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna drink this water." And like, as I'm drinking this water, me and him start having this conversation. You know, he's telling me that he was there for the land acknowledgement and everything. And then he was like, "Oh, you know, like, what are you doing here and like down here and stuff?" And I was like, "Oh, you know, I podcast OTB." He's like, "Wait, you're DJ from OTB?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh yeah, I listen to you guys. Like, I'm pretty regular." I was like, "Holy shit!" Like, who does it? And especially at this point, because this was Saturday, right, after we had already been to the
previous interactions.
Of like by this point, I was in my head like, who doesn't fucking know us? like, this is getting like, out of hand.
I hate that feeling. I don't know if I've ever like, if we've ever, I hate that feeling of like getting recognized, not because it's like a bad thing. Like, it's so cool when we do, but it's just like, who am I to get recognized in public in a state I'm not from, in a city I'm not from,
in front of thousands of people?
Like, it's like imposter syndrome to a degree where I'm just like, what is going on right now?
Like, you can't possibly know me like that.
I'm like, how? How do you know me? Like, it's crazy. And that happened multiple times this weekend, which we will get into.
Absolutely. So yeah, I don't know, but we started talking lacrosse and just playing and everything, and just how much the game has evolved and ways that we can make the game better, and what's the whole point of being a coach and being in the game and playing the game. And as the conversation went on, I just started to feel better. It truly is one of those things that, like, is the exact definition of lacrosse being a healing game, a medicine game. Like just being there, talking with someone else who believes in the game to that magnitude and has that power, rubbing all of that knowledge and stuff back and forth. It sparked new life in me. It literally, like you said before that, I was almost DOA. I was this close to being like, hey, we need to go to the first aid tent because I don't think I'm going to make it.
I was like, where's On's?
I need an IV.
We need to put Deej on the injury report real quick. Where's On's physical therapy at?
For medical.
But yeah, you survived. And
DJ
you were
Hughes,
good to go.
questionable medical.
DJ Hughes, questionable barfing.
Dehydration.
You put the D in dehydrated. You were dehydrated.
Doesn't know how to take care of himself.
You were dehydrated.
Literally. Real bad.
Oh, that's incredible. But yes, Fairfield was wild, and our Fairfield wrap-up is brought to you by our friends over at Buff. Guys, you got to stay protected from the heat. You got to stay protected from all types of weather, especially the heat right now, as Deej so eloquently learned this past weekend. It might have helped if he had our friends at Buff with him to protect himself just a bit more, kind of keep him cooled down, because Buff has that cooling technology in it to keep you safe from this just unbelievable heat that we're experiencing right now. Use our link in the description, shop Buff, their products, all the activities that you may go on, whether it's biking, hunting, fishing, running, skiing, snowboarding, or just everyday work. Plus they have PPE and workwear for firefighters and security workers. And you can check out all of their collections and collaborations from Survivor to Jackson Hole to all the national parks, and so much more. Use our link in the description to shop with our friends at Buff, and we thank Buff for being a proud partner of the podcast. Yeah, Fairfield was a time. It was truly wild. We met a lot of people, which
let's start there.
We've had moments where people have recognized us, where we've met up with people, but it's been like one or two people at most, like nothing crazy. This weekend was like, I know this sounds like we're exaggerating, but it genuinely felt like we were like celebrities with how many people like pulled us aside when we were just walking. It was like, yo, what's up? Like, and on top of that, like, I got the awesome opportunity to connect with somebody I've been friends with for a long time, Brian Fitzsimmons, from Barstool Sports. Brian is truly the best. And I got to have just an incredible conversation with him. We talked about a lot of stuff and some stuff we might be doing in the very near future. So that's pretty cool. Shout out to Brian. Like, he's a longtime listener of this show, has always supported me, and since Deej has been on board, has just supported the show in general, and has been one of those people that, like, it's good to have them in your corner. And it was awesome to finally get to meet Brian. And then we met Mr. Balkersell, which, you want to talk about an all-time vibes guy. That dude made me just love that family that much more. Like, obviously Josh is our guy, but meeting Pops
might be a rung up on the ladder on Josh.
Like,
Josh might be here, and I think Pops is here.
Like, you can see where Josh gets his enthusiasm and just energy from. Mr. Balkersell is, number one, so nice. And, like, I know that's a word that a lot of people, like, he is the definition of nice. So kind, so supportive, and just, like, genuine as all get out. And the fact that we were walking back from a press conference and he just stopped us dead in our tracks, introduced himself, said, I recognize those guys. He is the man. Like, genuinely one of the kindest people I think we've ever met.
Yeah, I mean, it literally stopped us dead. It was like, hold on. left all of his family and friends. There's like 15, 20 of them there. He's like,
even more probably.
I talk to y'all all the time. These dudes. Hold on. Y'all know who these people are? VIP right here. and he's just and he thanked us, I think, about 10 times in a 3-minute conversation. Like it was insane, the gratitude he had for the platform that we gave Josh to come on. And it was like we saw it more the other way around. Like we felt more blessed to be able to have the 15 minutes or 30 minutes that we got with Josh that day, and be able to shine light on this story. So it's a real give and take thing there, but the gratitude and the time, he really like made sure to stop and say something to us. And I definitely don't think that will be the last time that happens.
No.
According to him,
Which I'm all about.
According to him, we're going to be meeting up with him in the semis in Philly. So
I'll take it.
y'all heard it from Papa JB first. Like the Woods are going to the semis at the least.
He's the man. Shout out to Mr. Balkersell. And then obviously Dr. TJ knew who we were. And then we're sitting at the media table on Saturday. And Jules Henningberg's dad recognizes me, recognizes you. And I think I've seen him or interacted with him like a couple years ago. Like early on when Jules was with the Woods. And like Jules is a Jersey guy, so like we bonded over that and everything. I think it might have been in Baltimore, either 21 or 22. And I just say, "How you doing, Mr. Henningberg?" Trying to be just a respectful, like that's the way I've been taught, like to introduce myself to adults and everything. And I mean this in the kindest, funniest way. Jules's dad verbally assaulted me in the funniest and kindest way possible that you could be verbally assaulted. And I mean that endearingly because I accepted it with open arms because it was so goddamn funny. He said, "Mr. Henningberg, I'm not Mr. That's my father." He was like,
Well,
"I'm
actually,
Pops."
he said that's Jules's grandfather.
Yeah.
That's
He's
what
like,
he said.
"I'm Pops, Coach Gus." He's like, "I'm still bumping with Jim Jones and Dipset type shit." He was like, "I might be 64, but I'm still young." Mr. Fucking, he's like, "Get a load of this fucking guy," talking to DJ about it. He's the fucking man. And genuinely, like, it was the funniest interaction I think I've ever had at a PLL weekend. And I don't think I will ever have a funnier one. And I hope I get proven wrong. But genuinely, Jules' dad is the fucking best. And if you've ever had a conversation with him, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've not stopped thinking about that interaction since it happened. And when I do, I just laugh out loud to myself because it was hysterically funny.
You got to do better.
Hey, man, I was just trying to.
You're worse than me at calling people old.
As my mom tells me, whenever I leave the house, not only am I representing myself, but I am a direct reflection of my entire family. So I need to be respectful at all times. And I thought I was being respectful, and I got.
You gotta
My
read
big
the room.
Gus.
You gotta read the room.
He's the man, though. I love Jules' dad. Like, he's so fucking funny, and
They're just great.
I would take getting verbally assaulted by Jules' dad like that any day of the week because it will go down as one of the funniest interactions I've ever had covering the sport.
Oh, absolutely. And then probably the weirdest person to know us from the weekend. I want to make sure I get his name correct. So I'm pulling up his Instagram account. He's one of the few people to follow me recently. Joey Lindstrom.
Yes,
who does some play-by-play stuff for ESPN and other former or other large corporations on the media side of things. I love that his Instagram bio says knower of ball, by the way. That's sick. But yeah, so like we're talking and stuff. He just pulls up to us on the sideline while we're standing there. Which I have a funny story about that. apparently he didn't have friends and he just walked down there.
Which, like, I think he might have been there with like the ESPN stuff.
Well, he had creds, I think, the week before in Chicago. Yeah. So I think he figured they just rolled over and didn't apply for these ones because he did say it was like impromptu and he just popped out from New York and wasn't coming back Saturday because he was only there Friday night. But we're talking and stuff and he's like, "Oh, that's you guys?" And we're like, "What do you mean that's us?" Like, dude, you're on ESPN doing MAC football.
You played football at Butler, like,
and you're doing ESPN MAC football coverage play-by-play.
Mind you, he looked like a young, like, Herculean god with how he was chiseled and built. Like, this dude might be one of the most like handsome men I've ever like been in the presence of. He is dashingly stunning.
And he's just like, "Yeah, y'all are cool as hell."
Like, he looks like he could have been on The Bachelor. Like, that's how the levels of attractive that guy is.
Not just on it. He's a top 3, like
has he is The Bachelor.
Either he's The Bachelor or he goes on The Bachelorette and everybody on Twitter is like, he better win.
Yes.
He's that guy. That's like, hilarious.
He is one of the best looking humans I think I've ever been like face to face with. And I mean that just like endearingly. And he's so nice. That was the thing. That was the story of this weekend too. Every person that recognized us or we got a chance to meet, every interaction was just, they were so nice, so kind. Not that I expected anything, but it was just like overwhelmingly nice. And it was so cool to experience.
It was refreshing. I think that's the main thing is like really when you look around the world and social media and everything, like everybody's so negative and everybody's always attacking other people or pointing out the flaws and stuff. Like just to receive that love and the kindness and the energy of everybody there, like it was just so refreshing to live in the moment. I think it kind of forced us to live in reality. Not that we don't do that often. I think we are pretty good at checking ourselves and living in reality, but sometimes we get wrapped up in the numbers and the social media interaction and what's happening for our platform and where we want to be, not looking at, okay, how long have we been doing this? What are we actually doing? What is getting done? And you look at our track record in just 6 years versus the track record of some other programs that have been around 15, 20 years, we're on a higher trajectory than they are. And this was like one of those weekends to put that back into reality for us. Like, okay, we want to be here, but look at where we actually are and what we have done. We're doing everything we should be doing. It was just one of those reality checks. Like, we're in the right spot, doing the right things, being noticed by the right people. Just stay the course. We are the new process Sixers. We just got to trust the process and we gonna get there.
I think the crazy part is when parents of players recognize us.
Yes.
That's always so humbling in a good way. Like,
oh, we forgot one person. I don't know if you caught it. Probably my favorite recognition of the weekend was Spallina.
Oh yeah.
When he sat down, he winks right at us. And I go, "You talking to me?"
I mean, I caught the follow back from I got the follow from Spallina on Twitter this weekend too.
Yeah,
on my personal, like he's been a longtime listener of the show and follower of the show. Catching the personal follow is like, oh, how do you do?
I say that's always something I pay attention to is the looks and like finger points and kind of stuff we get from players and coaches and that in press conferences, because it's like they don't do that to everyone. Like I think like
right.
Dan's a guy that gets a lot of that.
Yes, rightfully so.
Outside of people who work for the league or are beat writers, like it's kind of pretty much just us and Dan that get that extra love. Like, you know, people are always saying thank you to us for what we do and like keep doing what we're doing because it's working for the game, giving us fist bumps in the pressers or pointing at us, saying things directly to us from time to time. So it's like, that's something I always pay attention to is like who does that kind of stuff in the pressers.
And I mean, like, on top of that too, we caught fist bumps from Pat Cav after he left his press conference.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, and like, I don't want to like say that like you haven't had a part in this either. I don't know what I personally did, but Pat Cav loves opening up to me. And like in press conferences, he gives me the most thought out, like descriptive responses to questions. He has been like, ever since we posted the Buffalo Wild Wings graphic on Instagram, he followed us from that. And every post that we post, especially ones that include the Denver Outlaws, immediate like one of the first people to like it is Pat Cav. He reached out to our photographer RJ this weekend, not PLL RJ, our RJ, our wee little lad.
Man,
He's the best. He's the best. Follow him at RJ Clip That. He reached out to him personally to like get photos that he took of him this weekend. Like, Pat Cav is quickly climbing up the charts as one of my favorite people in the PLL. And I think it's one of those things that him being on McAfee a ton, like that's a huge national platform where like you're kind of like on your P's and Q's, like trying to watch what you say almost. But like I thoroughly love this arc that I'm on and that we are on with Pat Cav, where like he feels comfortable around us. And I think that's super dope.
so I have a theory on that. And it's not just Pat Cav. I also think that a lot of the players watch the press conferences. That's just a wild theory I have. I don't know if it's like actually true or not.
It's a chrome foil hat theory.
Definitely. But I think we get a lot of love and acceptance from players from their personal experiences with us, but also just from them watching and hearing other clips from press conferences. We ask very different questions than many other people ask. A lot of people ask the X's and O's questions, the roster questions, that kind of stuff. Like, we ask the odd end stuff.
Which,
like,
if you know us, Deej and I hate asking those questions. Like, I'm not
we
gonna
have the
knock
answers,
people.
really.
I'm not gonna knock people who ask them, because sometimes that's just part of what they do in covering the sport and everything.
Like Dan, for example, is a great, like, he's like almost always asks X's and O's or like roster questions, but then you look at his coverage of the game, he's mainly an X's and O's and roster coverage person.
Dan's aspect of asking the X's and O's is also so different from a traditional X's and O's. Like, Dan knows how to work a question to get the X's and O's answer, but also get like a meaningful response. And that's why I fucking love Dan. Like, he's amazing. But like, you and I are on that same page where like we want the storytelling question that then,
or the emotion. Like
right,
we want the emotion answer.
It's not that it becomes a narrative, but it becomes something bigger than the question when you get the response. And that's what I have always aimed for in every iteration of media I've done, whether it's been, you know, covering the Wings, covering high school sports, you know, covering the Delaware Bluecoats in the G League, like whenever I've been in a press conference, that's what I want to try to get, because that's what gets the attention of people when they hear the responses. Like, you know, growing up, you and I have paid attention to press conferences with like traditional old guard media, and like it gets stale, it gets boring when you hear the same old things getting asked over and over again. And it's like, you already know the answer to that. Why are you asking that, you know, as we sit here in week 9 of an NFL season, or week 8 of a PLL season, or, you know, game 137 of a baseball season? Like, you already know the answer. Like, what are you doing? Like, get creative. And I think we approach, and Dan does this too, where like it's getting a response in a press conference that also like turns into a quasi like feature story, a quasi like column almost, where like you get so much more detail from what we're able to ask and what guys are comfortable responding to us with than, oh, what did you see here in the second quarter that, you know, got you going? Like, sometimes you need to ask that to guys that you don't have a bigger relationship with, or it's the first time you're talking to them, so that they kind of get an icebreaker with you. But as time goes on, like, getting more creative and getting like good quality answers and stuff is what matters. And I think Pat Cav has recognized that as the season has gone on, and he feels comfortable, talking to me, talking to you. And I love this trajectory we are on with Pat Cav, because he is becoming one of my favorite people in the PLL to just sit down and be able to, ask questions to, and hopefully we can get him on the pod soon. Also, I don't know if you saw it. Did you see I was in the Denver Outlaws hype video about Pat Cav?
No way.
Yeah, I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
It was on Instagram. The Denver Outlaws official account posted like throwback clips of when the trade happened, and it's like literally me, like it's like the Pelkey show, another show that I don't know who it was, so I apologize to them, and then me going, the Denver Outlaws have traded for Pat Cav, and then it cuts to Pat Cav's highlights from this weekend and all this stuff. It's incredible. I'm just like, what in the world?
Hey, I'm low key still kind of mad. Chaos. My question out.
That was your laugh is in it though.
Yes. My
Which is
laugh
what
is
matters.
distinctively in it.
But yeah, I mean, it was a crazy, crazy weekend. Just a very fun, enjoyable, awesome. Like Fairfield always delivers. We saw Cope too. Andy Copeland was there this weekend too. You want to talk about one of my favorite people? Andy Copeland is that for me.
The Denver Outlaw. Big news.
Crazy.
Trading Austin Cannon trade Pat the Denver Outlaws.
Would I be completely lying if I didn't have this one circled on my calendar?
Like, come on. Like, what are we doing here? It's surreal when I'm in one of those videos.
I mean, low key, we've been getting clipped all summer.
Oh yeah, dude, we were getting clipped before the season with the DeLuca iPad video.
Hey, that was clutch. That started it all. Which y'all are welcome.
Yes, we saw Andy Copeland this weekend too. Cope looks fantastic. He seems like he is thriving. And you want to talk about one of my favorite people? Andy Copeland is one of my favorite people, and he's just the best. It was so awesome seeing Cope and being able to see him. What seems like once a year at Fairfield every year is always a treat. So shout out to Cope. He's an OG supporter of this show, and let it be known on the record, we did Andy Copeland's first and last interview as head coach of the Water Dogs. So that's a feather in the cap that I love that we have, that his very first interview was with us and his very last was with us when he was the head coach of the Dogs. So shout out to Cope. Deej, shall we quickly put a bow on these games that occurred over the weekend? I mean, the floor will be yours. We'll start with Friday, 6:30 game. The Atlas take down the Redwoods 16-12. I will say, first and foremost, the Redwoods brown Indigenous Heritage jerseys, seeing them in person, they are a top 5 PLL jersey in my book of all time. They are gorgeous. I am getting a JB34 Indigenous Heritage jersey because seeing them up close and personal, I was like, these are gorgeous. This was more of a game through 3 quarters than I really thought it would be. I didn't think the Atlas were going to boat race the Redwoods, but for 3 quarters, this was like, I was sitting there like, are the Redwoods going to do this? Like, are they going to pull off like this upset? And then the bane of the Redwoods' existence during this 5-game losing streak happened, and the 4th quarter showed up. The number 4 showed up on the quarter spot, and Atlas go 5 unanswered goals before the Redwoods get the last goal of the game to make it 16-12 when McAdory scored with like a minute and 48 to go. I do want to say this. TD getting hurt and suffering the concussion-like symptoms changed the trajectory of this game. Full blown. Like, I understand one guy doesn't, make or break a game for you, but the way TD was playing, and just in a general sense, like, it's a team sport at the end of the day. But in this instance, the way TD was playing, the way that he was like going to work against Trevor, and the way he was winning possessions, it changed the entire complexion of what this game could have ended up being, especially in that fourth quarter. And I wish there was some way that we could like go back and have this game get played out with TD fully healthy, because the way he was playing, I genuinely think there is a universe out there that the Redwoods win that game if TD doesn't exit the game. And I mean, on top of that, like, Ryder Guernsey had his best game of the season so far in terms of production and shooting percentage. He shot 50%, 2 goals, 2 assists. Chris Cav is on demon time right now. McAdory, again, you want to talk about the trajectory, it was a domino effect. TD leaves the game, McAdory's taking faceoffs, and it completely changes his ability to dodge. And Joe Spallina talked about it, and Anthony Kelly talked about it in the press conference. That dude was exhausted by the time the fourth quarter rolled around, and it just changed what he was able to accomplish from his spot on the field from an offensive perspective. I really wish we could have seen TD healthy for this entire game, because I genuinely think the Redwoods snap their losing streak if he's in the game.
So 73.7%. That's what TD was in this game. 73.7%. His best since 2021.
They actually on the stats
22.
page they have him finished at 76.2%.
Yeah. Even higher.
He was 16 of 21.
That was his best against Trevor since like 2021. I am not a fan of blaming referees, but I think this one does fall a lot on the referees. We were there in person, and you can attest to this. After every single face-off, I said, damn, they are beating TD's ass.
Mm-hmm.
Literally after every single one.
There was maybe like 2 that he got away freely.
Just clean. Like there were a couple that he won cleanly and just was gone.
He was
but
just like
other
Jimmy
one,
Neutron. Got a blast.
Every other one, he was in the thick of the battle, just getting abused. Yeah. So like, I don't know what is going on with that.
Yeah, it was suspect. And like on top of that too, not only was it like him like just getting like beat to hell, like there was a lot of holding going on. Like it was like a mosh pit out there.
Yeah, and that eventually led to him getting the concussion-like symptoms, him being out for the game. And like you said, that changed the entire trajectory of the game. To the point,
and I mean, on top of that, like when it happened, his helmet flew off, and Joe Spallina said it in the press conference, like the wind didn't blow his helmet off. Like his helmet flew in the air too when that happened. We were on the sideline like, who was that? And then immediately, like, you see it's TD, and it's like, oh shit. Like that helmet spiraled in the air. It was wild. The fact that like that happened and then like still nothing was getting called was mind-blowing to me.
Yeah, like that was the one that kind of really set them off in terms of Anthony Kelly and Joe Spallina, is that specific hit, which like I agree with. It's like you have to at least call that one. You have to protect the players, and you have to set a precedent for the game. Granted, the part I don't like about all of this is the Andrew McAdory piece. Him having to take faceoffs and not being able to dodge on the offensive end. One, if TD's in this game, he probably continues to play very well, and the Redwoods just have the ball a lot more, which means Atlas has a lot less time to get back into the game. That's point number one. Point number two, Andrew McAdory is probably dodging and playing a lot better on the offensive end and much more effectively because he isn't, it's spending that energy at the faceoff stripe. He probably pours in a couple more goals, or at least the offense has a better fluidity to it than what we saw in that second half. And then also third, I think it went back to that attack-heavy offense that you've seen the Woods use in the past because, now their main midfield initiator is gone. So once again, I think they need to dip back into the midfield pool and find out who's going to be an initiator from the midfield other than Andrew McAdory and continue to find ways to have the midfield help the attack so that when you do get into situations like this, the attack feels comfortable and can work with a few other guys other than just McAdory. I think the bigger piece in this is not having those protections for TD, which leads to him getting hurt, which has a complete domino effect down the roster.
Again, I mean, like, this game was 12-11 going into the fourth quarter. Like, it was back and forth. Like, halftime rolled around. The fact that it was 10-10, everyone was like, yo, we got ourselves a game to start this weekend. And not that it was, like, this was a great game for 3.5 quarters. And then the fourth quarter got out of hand. Redwoods were exhausted and couldn't keep up. And it sucks because it could have been, like, I thought this was also, like, an unbelievable game for Chase in goal.
Yes.
Like, yes, he gave up 16 scores, but he saved 50% of the shots he faced, had 15 saves. Like, on paper, it's going to look, quote-unquote, bad because they lost. He gives up 16. But when you dive deeper into it, like, he was standing on his fucking head this entire game. Which,
and
like,
also,
almost every goalie is going to do against this New York Atlas offense.
And he's taking, so you look at the numbers, that's 31 shots on goal. He saves 15, lets in 16. Imagine if TD's in this game, how many less shots he takes, how many less goals he gives up. Granted, he would have less saves, but he's also giving up less goals, has less saves, and they probably win the game. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think people realize, like you said, one person shouldn't dictate a game. But when you look at the PLL and how the clock and everything is set up and the field and gameplay is set up, there are two positions, in my opinion, that can really just absolutely disable your team. If you lose your goalie in the middle of the game, or if you lose your face-off guy in the middle of the game. And I say face-off a little more than goalie because most teams are rocking with two goalies, and pretty much everybody's backup goalie could be a starter if there was a team for them to be a starter for. So that's a little bit easier to work with. Everybody's pretty much rolling out one face-off guy. Mm-hmm. So if your face-off guy gets hurt, you're just done for that game until you can go get your backup for the next game.
Which is
so you gotta move
the rosters expand to 21.
And I'm going to be honest here. In the future, Anthony Kelly, Joe Splina, I know you guys are listening. I obviously don't know your team as well as I think I do. And you definitely know them better because you're in practices and such with them. Personally, I think Teb is the way to go.
Which Teb did take face-off. He did take 3.
I just think long term, I know Andrew took them growing all the way up until I think his sophomore year of high school or whatever. And he's got quick hands. He's got all the pieces to be good there. You can't sacrifice how much he means offensively.
I think
Tev is going to be solid there. And worst case scenario, he loses, he can play defense. And he can play good enough defense to where you can kill that 32 and now you have 52 on the opposite end.
I think they had McAdory taking them because we even said it during the game. For a majority of the game, Tevlin was probably having one of his worst games of the season.
Yeah.
He
couldn't catch the ball. He
Right,
couldn't catch the
and
ball.
it was just it was a weird Brian Tevlin game. So I think they were almost like trying to fix that and being like, hey, Tev, focus on playing defense, focus on, your position, and let's get McAdory going, because if he wins and can get possession of the ball, he can run right down the field and score
But
if need be.
but then, like, to counterpoint that, I especially as a coach, like, honestly, I think it's a lot easier for you to just, and let's transition you to face off. Actually, now your only job is get us the ball. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if you pick it up. I don't care if the guy on the wing picks it up. I don't care if you kick it all the way to our attackman. Just get us the ball. Your only job right now is to win faceoffs and make sure Trevor Baptiste can't win them forward. That, to me, that seems a lot easier to lock in on and to make happen, is to just be like, hey, your only job is faceoffs now. That's it.
Yeah.
Because like with defense, it's, oh, okay, well, I have to slide now and I got to cover this, and the clear, I have to do this or that, and there's a lot of moving pieces to that. It's face off. It's simply, hey, my 3 guys against their 3 guys, we got to come up with the ball.
And I'll say, we're saying all of this now. They're also thinking of this during a game.
Yep.
Clocks are ticking. There's so many other moving parts that you have to worry about. So, like, we're saying this like, oh, it's this easy fix, when, like, in reality, it's not that easy fix.
No, it's not. Actually, I made my first mistake this year. Well, not my first, but like one of those ones where like I finally was like, oh, this is my fault. I think I talked about it earlier this year, but we were winning a game by 2 with like 3 minutes left, and we held on to our 2 timeouts, and we had multiple chances to call one, settle things down, and probably win that game. We end up losing by 1. But like, it's just so hard when you have all these moving pieces. Okay, I got these guys over here. These guys seem to be okay. Oh, do I call a timeout even though we're on a 2-on-1 fast break? Like, probably not. They're going to score this, and then they don't. And then I'm like, I should have called that timeout. The moving pieces of the game make it so much more difficult to make decisions.
Yeah. The next game, I mean, great game for the Atlas too. I mean, that goes without saying. Like, Connor Schellenberger was fantastic. I genuinely think right now it's a 2-dog race for the MVP as we go into Salt Lake. It's Michael Sowers and Shelley kind of duking it out right now for the MVP front runners. They're tied in points. It seems like it feels like when Brady and Drew Brees were like going back and forth for the passing yards and like passing touchdown records, where like 1 week the one guy would get it, and then the next guy would play at 405 and he would get it, and they were just like going back and forth. Those two feel like they're going to be in a never-ending race the next 3 weeks. And the cool part is they play against each other in the final week of the season, which will be very fun. Great game for Shelley, and good on the Atlas. Like, Trevor was having a down day, but they found a way to come together as a team and come out with the win. So Atlas improved. They're still the number 1 seed in the East. And the next game, Archer's Chaos, provided everything we've always said. This is a rivalry game. These two teams fucking hate each other. It doesn't matter who's on the team. Brett Dobson acknowledged that these two teams are rivals, and it stems from before he even got there. And I was like, yes, Dauber, feed into our narrative, feed into what we've been saying for so long. This was an incredible game from start to finish. It had everything. It had a 5-0 lead. It was 9-5 going into halftime. And then Owen Hiltz said, here's my welcome to the PLL moment. And granted, the Archers still end up winning this game 12-11, but this was the Owen Hiltz game. This was the game where everyone is going to look back on and remember, oh, this is why Carolina drafted Owen Hiltz. This is why he got hyped up to be one of the top, scoring offensive weapons in this past draft class. That dude, as Jared Newman so eloquently said, shoot or shoot, bro. And Owen Hiltz was on fire in this game. 7 points, 5 goals, 2 assists. And it was a goalie battle. Both goalies saved 60% of their shots. But the difference in this game, Deech, was again one of those late first round draft picks coming in and saying, hey, look what I can do. And Mason Woodward puts up 2 2-pointers in this game. And that result ends up being the big swing that the Archers needed to end up winning. Not only was it an early just like momentum thing because he scored one of those 2-pointers in the first quarter.
I think they both were early.
Yeah, the second one was in the second quarter, like early on, like 9 minutes.
Yeah.
At the 9-minute mark in the second quarter. But that one in the first quarter, to make it a 4-0 game was just such a huge momentum swing early on that, you know, Roy Colsey, Owen Hiltz talked about it too. Like, you can't go down 5-0 and put yourself that deep in a hole if you want to win in this league. And those 2 2-pointers were massive swings in this game that, you know, when you break it all down, you take those off the board, Chaos end up winning this game.
I mean, yeah. Those are the small things that really add up. We've talked a lot about the 2-pointer. Because
you feel like I love it.
You feel like it's the bane of your team's existence.
Oh, and I don't feel that way. They've acknowledged it's the bane of their existence. I don't have to say shit about the Water Dogs with that. They've openly acknowledged it. But I love the 2-pointer and the swing that it can be in any given game. And we witnessed it early on with Mason in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it helped a lot. It's really just more of, to me, it's the ultimate juice goal. Just getting a 2-pointer at any moment really just hypes the team up. Especially when it comes from a defender or a guy that isn't necessarily known as like a shooter or isn't supposed to be a shooter. Like, yeah, let's be honest here. If Marcus Holman, Romar Dennis, Dylan Malloy, Ryan Brown, like certain guys when they shoot a 2, Brian Costabile, Miles Jones,
Connor Kelly.
Like, yeah, it's just like, oh, okay. Yeah, they scored again from outside. That's what they do. But, you know, when you have a guy that isn't supposed to do it as often, come in and do it, and let alone do it twice, it gives your team added energy that really just puts them onto another step.
Like, this was probably as amazing as that Cannons Outlaws game was, which, like, that game rocked. And it definitely was, like, game of the year. This was an unbelievable game. Like,
yes,
from start to finish. And I don't think it's getting enough credit for how fun and awesome of a game it was, because the very next game that got played on Saturday at 1 o'clock or at 3 o'clock was just unbelievable as well. But, like, this is a game that I would, like, love to go back and watch on TV because it was that much fun in person. I can only imagine what the broadcast. I know I can't. I gotta find time to do it. I can only imagine like what the broadcast was like as Chaos are like digging themselves out of the hole that they were in, and just like it was pure cinema of a lacrosse game from start to finish. And then, as Blaze so eloquently tweeted, he's a sore loser. We love Blaze, but Blaze absolutely yeeted, as Dauber says, Spider. Brendan Lavelle got fucking body bagged by Blaze at the end of that game.
So listen, are we done? I think that is going to be the last time we leave a game slightly early to get it to a press conference, because we missed that whole thing.
Because
and then all of us
started playing, and I was like, I wonder what happened.
And all of a sudden we hear, yeah, Blaze pretty much just bodied somebody. We're like, what?
Blaze ragdolled somebody, and I was like, huh?
And we were just like, what the fuck did we miss? So now I think we're done doing that.
Yeah, never again.
Because then I saw the clip and I'm like, what is Blaze even doing on that end of the field? I was just so lost.
It was a wild game. And I mean, this was a game the Archers absolutely needed to win. They were on a slide themselves. And as Batesy pointed out, like, he doesn't think they've lost 3 games in a row in their existence until now. And this was a game that, like, as much as it sucks for Carolina, like, this is a good team building, like, type of game for them to, like, think back on, remember, like, hey, if we don't dig ourselves into a 5-0 hole, we win that game. And it's something that the young guys can like learn from and build upon, because it's not like they played poorly. That, you know, that first quarter, yes, it was not ideal, but for I'd say 90% of the game, Carolina played one of their better fundamental games of the year.
Yeah, I mean, this was they were so close to putting a full 48 together. This was by far the best game they've had all season, and it's one that they can learn a ton from. I think this is one of those games where they just put their head down and tried to win, and I think that's the biggest thing that they can learn from this is taking that mindset of, okay, let's just put our head down and grind. That's just the chaos mentality. So it's kind of interesting. It hasn't always been that this season, but if they just put their head down, it's going to be tough to beat them. They're one of those teams that's just gritty, and they play a gritty game where you're going to have to earn every single thing that you're out here doing. Not that other teams don't play that way, but it's to a different level with chaos. And I think some of that might be because I feel like Blaze just adds an extra layer of difficulty.
I think it's that whole defense back end, like that triangle of Blaze, Jared, and Jack, like being those like foundational pieces that have been there since year one, and like those are your culture guys. And
yeah, but it's like you can beat Jack and Jared, but like you can't beat Blaze.
Y'all heard that?
Hey, chill. But like what I'm saying is, defenders aren't always going to win their matchup. Like we just know that. But like Blaze is literally a brick wall. So it's like, what was that? Chicago, when like they were getting at Blaze and like it was nasty, and everybody's like, "Yo, like what's going on?" And like earlier this year when Blaze pulled himself for Cotter, like if you get at Blaze, you get at chaos, because like that's like the literal last level. Like if you can get him off his mark and be able to beat Blaze consistently, you pretty much got that game in your hands. But when Blaze is on, his team plays so much better, because it's like, oh, we just got to make sure Blaze can see it, and it's good as in a stick. So it's that added level of, oh, Blaze is having a top-notch game. You just know every single part of this chaos team is going to get better because they're going to feed off that energy. But yeah, like not that everybody doesn't play that way, but it's just a little bit different with Blaze.
So yeah, Utah gets a win going into their homecoming weekend this weekend with two massive games on deck for them. And I mean, the next game, Saturday's game, was game of the year so far. I mean, highlight reel after highlight reel after moment, and shout out to Ryan, our photographer, captured the goal of the year perfectly in photo form. Brennan O'Neill delivers the goal of the year in the game of the year. And this game had it all. It had 2-pointers flying. It had SportsCenter top 10 plays. It was physical. It was finesse. It was adrenaline. It was welcome to the league moments. And it was one of the highest scoring games of the year, if not the overall highest scoring of the year. 35 goals put in the back of the net. 35 points, I should say. 18-17, Denver beats the Cannons. I loved every minute of this, and every player in this game was involved. Dalton Young tied for the Outlaws' lead in points with Pat Cav in this game. Jared Bernhardt was on demon time. Brennan O'Neill, like I mentioned, scored the goal of the year. And the fact that he has the goal of the year in the PLL and the NLL season is crazy. Our one takeaway, though, unfortunately, from this game, Deej, was an adjustment to the challenge system in the PLL.
Yes.
because Jared Bernhardt was in the crease on a goal. Brian Holman couldn't challenge it because he had challenged 2 prior plays. We need like a, referees are never going to be perfect. Umpires are never going to be perfect. But in a sport like lacrosse and in a league like the PLL, I think it needs to be to a point, and it's not going to be an immediate thing, but I do think they need to get to a point where like every scoring play is reviewed, like the NFL is with touchdowns. Like hockey can be with goals, to see if the puck got across that line. Because Jared being in the crease, and it couldn't be reviewed, changed the trajectory of the game. Who knows what happens momentum-wise? Who knows what happens after that happens in this game? It's a bummer. I know, it's not the end-all, be-all of the cause of this game, because during this game, it felt like the Outlaws at every single turn were up by like multiple scores. But then you look at the scoreboard and the Cannons were only down by 1, or they were up by 1, or they were up by 2. And it's like the Outlaws feel like they are flat out dominating this game. How are the Cannons still alive? And it would be fascinating to see if that Bernhardt goal gets overturned, what happens the rest of the way. Shout out to Luke Weirman. His best game as a pro, hands down, in my opinion. 23 of 34 from the stripe, 15 ground balls, also scores in this game. Had a goal of his own. We said it last week, and I'm going to say it again. The Cannons defense is a problem, and not in a good terminology of the word problem. They are leaving Colin Kirst out on an island. And I asked Brian Holman about it in the press conference, and he said, that's on him. Like, he wanted them to be playing a bit of a different style of defense this year, and it hasn't really caught on to the fullest extent that they thought it would. And I mean, we've seen Colin Kirst be a rising star goalie in this league in a multitude of ways. That defense is doing him so dirty. And like, we love Bryce Young. Jack Keelty's a dog. Garrett Epple's a former defensive player of the year. But they look like they're just totally lost out there on defense. They're getting caught flat-footed all the time. And Colin Kirst is only going to be able to do so much for you. He's not a vacuum. I think even Colin Kirst would say he's not in the goalie tier of Dauber and Blaze. Like, those guys are the pinnacle of the pinnacle. But Colin Kirst is a damn good fucking goalie. And this is nothing to disparage Colin Kirst. But leaving him out on an island like that is just not ideal for you to go and win games. And the Cannons had every opportunity to go and win this game at the end too. But it still doesn't eliminate the fact that the defense is an issue. And if the Cannons do somehow find a way to work their way into the playoffs, their defense is going to be, public enemy number 1 to themselves, the way that they've been playing probably over the last 3-4 weeks in particular.
I want to start with the review thing. Number 1, I think that if you get both your reviews correct, you should get a third. And second, I do think all scoring plays should be reviewed because I think it's fast. When you think about it, they're showing the replay 3-4 times. And if we get lucky, we get a, freeze it right there moment. So like you have extra time. There's no way
Seth at the table.
That's what I was going to get at is there's no way that Seth can't see the play enough times within that 30, 45 to a minute in between the goal and setting the field for him to go, whoa, wait, stop, foot in the crease, no goal. Let's start it back here with goalie. Like, you have plenty of time because we see the replay in stadium 3 or 4 times before they reset the field. You see it on broadcast a handful of times before they reset the field. So you have time to go and look at that scoring play, see if it should count, and then be like, okay, this is good. Let's roll. Yeah. That first and foremost is what I think should be discussed, even if it doesn't happen this upcoming season, maybe the next one. Maybe you try it out in Champ Series, which that's kind of harder because of the way sixes works. But I think there is a way to test this out and roll with it. But yeah, that's my piece on that is you get both right, you get a third, and reviewing all scoring plays. So then they don't have to waste them on that. So then your challenges are really only for, was that a reset? That's something you look at. Did this guy step out of bounds and you called it and you said he didn't? Was that really over and back? Like stuff like that. Which I think will make the game go a little bit faster, flow better. And then we don't run into situations like this. Which really put a damper on what was a great game. This was the game of the weekend, arguably the game of the year. And I tweeted that might have been the best nationally televised game ever. Just the energy, the back and forth, the scoring, the storylines, all of it was there. There was no way that anybody who happened to have channel surfed and stopped for 30 seconds wasn't locked in. There's no way they saw 30 seconds, the most boring 30 seconds of that game. Like it would actually be like statistically impossible because I don't even think there were 30 boring seconds right next to each other. Like this game was so full of what you want in a lacrosse game. You knew it was going to be something when it opens up with a Jake Pacino 2-bomb and him asking the crowd if they're entertained. That was the very first play of the game. We're 15 seconds in, and this dude launches one, cans it, and then is like, "Come here, you like this or what?" Like that was the energy that flowed through the entire game. I couldn't believe it. Who was that woke me up during this game? All I remember is like I was sleeping. And I heard ping. I just heard the loudest
it had to have
smashing of a pipe ever.
It had to have been either Brennan, Pat, or Logan, because I think it was the Outlaws' possession.
I think it was Brennan.
It was down by our end.
I mean, somebody's absolutely uncorked when I just heard ping. And I was like, oh my God, that might have been it was Brennan. Because I think I went, that might be the angriest shot I've ever seen in my life. Or heard, I should say. Because I didn't see it. But this game literally had everything you want. And the cannons thing, it's okay. It's a trickle-down effect. Their short sticks aren't playing as well as they have the last couple of years, which is causing their poles to overcompensate, which is really leading to more mistakes. And a lot of shots coming on crease with Colin Kirst there to do it by himself. They're not really setting him up for success by giving him shots he can see. When they do, clean saves, he's out the door, we're going the other way. When they don't, things get muddy. And it's tough because you want to tell your poles to have trust in their teammates that they're going to do their job and they don't need to overcompensate. But then when they don't do their job, they have to overcompensate. So it's really a catch-22. Either your poles keep overcompensating and you hope that Kirsty can make a good play or they can snag one out of the air, or you get on your high horse and you force your D-mids to play better. it's just such a tough road because one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
And then they haven't necessarily been getting exceptional play from Zach Tucci either. So the defense is playing a lot.
Yeah, and like I get they're not going to say anything about Tucci like in a disparaging way, and like I wouldn't expect it either. But like you gotta admit when it's not working, and like Tucci's been getting worked all summer. Like I get Tucci's been a stand-up teammate. He works his ass off, but you could kind of read between the lines when Marcus Holman was saying, like, oh, I kind of like where our face-off is at. No, buddy. No. It's clearly hurting you. You're not getting possessions for the offense. And then we get these whacked out narratives from the TikTok children of the world and just weird internet people saying that Asher Nolting is washed. Which I'm so sick of that fucking narrative. Like,
Man.
That is the most egregious and outlandish take I've ever seen about a player who is 4 years into his career, that is still playing at a high level, that is one of the league leaders in assists, that is one of the league leaders in points, that the dude is washed, that he's going to be phased out of the league, phased out of the offense in 2-3 years. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like, I genuinely, like, that is like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills moments when I see people talking about how Asher Nolting is quote unquote washed. Like, get a grip.
Look, we don't do a lot of X's and O's talk here, but this is a pretty simple X's and O's answer. Do we recall the last 2 weeks from Michael Sowers? He's been forced to be a what? A goal scorer. They have defended him completely different the last 2 weeks than they defended him the other 5 weeks to start the year. 5 weeks to start the year, they played him straight up. They're like, hey, when you dodge, we'll try and cut it off. And we're hoping that everybody else plays great defense and you don't have anybody to pass it to. He's been dicing everybody up for assists all year. So what do teams start to do? They play heavy on everybody else so that there are no passing options for Sowers. And they say, okay, now go beat our best defender. And he has for a good portion of this. That's what makes Michael Sowers so great. Now let's apply that same logic to Asher Nolting, except they've been doing it since game one. They said, this guy is a pure goal scorer. He always has been. When we allow him to dictate how he's going to dodge and get to his spots, he's going to score goals. And then when we start to overcompensate for that, he finds teammates on the backside for easy goals. And now he's not only scoring, but he's dishing. We have to make him one-dimensional. So what have they done? They have forced him to be a passer. Hey, we're going to send double teams at you early. We're going to show early from guys. We're going to force the ball out of your hands. Which, if you look at Asher's assist totals, higher at this moment than they were last year. And he's still 6th or 7th or something like that in the league in points. So to say that he's getting phased out, to say that he isn't productive, to say that he's washing or is already washed is insane. When he's still producing at an extremely high level and it's just changed his game to be effective. Oh, no team in the PLL wants me to dodge and score. Okay, I'll just dodge and feed until you guys decide to let me score again. And so far, no one has let him score, so he's just been feeding all year. In this game that they almost won, he had 4 assists, tied for the team leading points, without scoring a goal. That's a part of the game. That's what
19 assists.
That's what X's and O's is about, is being able to change the way you play X's and O's based off what you're seeing. Defenses do it all the time. That's what a game plan is about. Okay, we see that this team, for example, the Redwoods at the beginning of the year was a team that everybody just allowed them to freely move the ball around. And they quickly shut that down when they saw that, oh, this team's thriving off being able to move the ball around quickly and find open guys. So, okay, let's play super tight on the outside, force these people to beat one guy. Nope. It starts dying in sticks. They're not getting as many good shots off. They're not hitting the cage as much. It works. The Archers. Oh, these dudes love to pass the ball. Let's make them be individual dodgers. All of a sudden, the Archers had problems from the beginning of the season beating teams in individual dodges and getting shots off. So it seems like X's and O's work when you do them correctly. Asher has just found a way to be productive in the X's and O's that doesn't involve him scoring.
Mm-hmm.
But I bet you if one team decides to go, you know what? Asher's been dicing this year. Let's force him to be a goal scorer today. Dude's going to pop 4 or 5. Because he's going to look up and be, oh, they're allowing me to dodge and shoot today? Let's see what I got.
Mm-hmm.
That is how you be a great lacrosse player at any level, is being able to do what is needed of you from the team based off what you're seeing from the opposite side.
McNaney kind of had his welcome to the PLL moment this weekend. Fewest amount of saves he's had in a game so far with 13. Most scores against at 17. Lowest save percentage of his career so far at 48.1, but still found a way. He was still damn impressive. And DJ, I know you brought up Brennan's, ping of the net there is an angry shot. Definitely up there. I gotta say, we're going to because it was in this game, we're gonna announce our angry shot of the week. And our angry shot of the week is brought to you by our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Guys, there's no better way to stand out in the crowd than with the official merch partner of the Outside the Box podcast, PHI Apparel Company. You can get your official OTB merch, shirts and hoodies available on their website, phiapparel.co. And if we hit those milestones like we've been mentioning, Duck merch will be on there. And hopefully once we get this design all worked out, we'll have the Angry Shots Lacrosse Club merchandise on there as well. But go to phiapparel.co, use code underground at checkout, and you'll get 10% off your next merch order from our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. Again, that's phiapparel.co, code underground for 10% off your next merch order, and stand out in the crowd with the official merch partner of the Outside Box podcast and Underground Sports Philadelphia. I think there's one person who, I've watched the video countless times, and like you said, he got the crowd going this weekend. Were you not entertained by the angry shot Jake Pacino launched to kick off this game?
It's just so tough. Picking one player for the weekend is going to be so tough.
Like, that's the one, like, as I look back on the weekend, that one is, it just, anytime I like go on a diatribe about thinking it, like, that's the one that just is in the front of my brain, and it's just like stood out to me. The noise it made, the speed that ball flew out of his stick in, and it went in the back of the net.
Did Marcus have one? I feel like Marcus had one that made me go, oh my God, Marcus. Like, I actually think I said literally that, oh my God, Marcus Holman.
Yeah, he had a 2-pointer in this one, but like, even when I think
I can't remember if it was a 2-pointer or if it was just,
because like, just for everyone's
there would be a
peace of mind too out there for everyone. Like, yes, Brendan O'Neill had the goal of the weekend, but that was a finesse goal. That was like skill. It was not an angry shot. That was just pure finesse and skill, and that's a totally different category than the angry shot that we are classifying here.
I'm looking to see if there was something that Marcus did this past weekend, but I don't think so. Yeah, no, because I was a bouncer. Not that bouncers can't be
angry, but when it does bounce, it does dispel some of the anger.
Oh, yeah, he did have one. It was in, hold on. It was in the third quarter. He made it 13-12. He got a pass from Asher because he curled from the inside. I mean, he just drilled the corner. Maybe that. Ooh, that might have been the one that woke me up because it was early third quarter. I'll send you the tweet
because that goal was with 5:34 left in the third.
Yeah. You tell me what you think. I'm stuck between this one and the Pacino one.
Like Pacino's just being a 2, and it like got the game going too. Let's see. That was a screamer. Let me watch Jake's one more time because I know Jake retweeted us tweeting his goal too. This is great podcasting, I know. It's just sensational.
The best.
Oh. I'll send you Jake's, and then
I'm looking at it here.
okay.
I'm good with Jake's.
I'm
good with Jake's.
Breaking news from the Utah Archers. Matt Moore has been ruled out for the remainder of the 2025 season. He will remain on injured reserve.
Oh, I thought it was something worse. Not that isn't bad. Let me preface like that's horrible. But like I thought it was like
that sucks.
Oh my god. That does.
That sucks for their offense.
So now that all right, we asked the age-old question. Who should be at attack now for the Archers?
I think you just keep Trey there.
Well, Trey wasn't there this past weekend. They played Sam King down there most of the game.
I think you just bounce back and forth depending on
or do you
flow between those two.
Do you put Tom Schreiber there thinking he might get a boost? Like you have to do something to spark Tom, right? Like okay, yeah. hold on. That's the real
we apologize for this interruption of the Angry Shots Lacrosse Club inaugural induction, but
that's the real problem with this season. Why is nobody talking about how bad Tom Schreiber's playing? And like, not that he's playing bad, but when we're talking about Tom Schreiber and the level of play we expect from him, it is significantly lower than what we expect. And I think
it's just been easier for teams to defend him because their offense has been so piss poor. Like they're like, oh, no one else can shoot. Let's just turn Tom Schreiber off.
And nobody's talking about it.
They're doing exactly what teams are doing to Asher, and Tom just like he's passing,
letting it.
But everyone else can't finish, so he's not racking up assists like Asher is.
He's not doing anything.
Like, and it's not like you said, it's not even like Tom's fault. He's doing everything in his power.
I mean,
everyone else around him.
I don't think he's dodging as hard. Like, I don't think he's trying to create for himself enough. And like granted, he might not even be able to create an opportunity for him to shoot, but it's like Tom, you have to realize you're Tom Schreiber. So the harder you dodge to the middle, you're going to force a slide just because of who you are. Then that gives you a chance to move it to an open guy. And then if that guy never comes, now you do get a shot because you're Tom Schreiber. It's like he really has to step back into that. I'm Captain America. I'm Tom Schreiber. I'm the best offensive midfielder in the world because nobody out here can stop me. He's like, to me, he's like letting them stop him. And it's like,
on top of that, like,
do more.
I know their defense is like on a like all-world trajectory this year. but like they're also not getting possessions for the offense to even like have a chance to do something. You know, Naso is like trying to find his footing with the PLL cadence. Sis has been terrible this year, and I think he would tell you that, obviously. But that's also part of the problem is like their defense has to go right away, and then they're playing so much defense, and their defense is playing phenomenally, but their offense is doing nothing to compensate for how fucking awesome their defense and Dauber have been. But nonetheless, speedy recovery to Matt Moore. That fucking sucks. I hate seeing my Philly guys in particular like not be out on the field. That's such a bummer for their offense because he is such a spark plug for them early in games. Like he's one of those guys that is like traditional first quarter goal scorer type guys, and to not have that the rest of the way is a huge blow to their offense.
So do you put Grant down there, Dyson Williams, Sam King, Trey Leclerc?
I need to see Dyson step up a lot now. Like I need to see Dyson like really hone in. I need to see.
Well, like my question is just like who benefits the most from going down there to like then provide that spark that the Archers need. Like, is it Dyson? Is it Sam? Like we. I mean, I would argue that you go with somebody who hasn't been productive from the midfield. So either Tom or Dyson.
Probably Dyson.
And I mean,
especially now that Trey is back, like,
and you could always be safe with Grant, I guess, because like I mean, he's Grant. Like, I think those are one of the three options you go with. I think you leave Sam and Trey in the midfield because they have been pretty well. Trey had the one game at each for sample size, so like I guess with him, it's either way you really want to go.
He's also just trying to get his feet back under him.
That's what I'm saying. So like it doesn't hurt for him to be moved around per se.
Also, can we just talk about how fucking cool Trey Leclerc looks when he was in that press conference? Like,
he's just cool.
All-time cool guy.
And
like, I don't know why I never realized he had so many tattoos.
Listen, he's one of the very few people I accept from that place down there.
Him and Terry.
But he's just so cool that I can't put that against him.
He's so fucking cool.
He's literally so cool that I can't hold that against him. Like, yeah, you went to that school over there, bro, but like it doesn't matter. You're
like,
cool.
It's the combination of his height and size. He's got impeccable hair, and the tattoos are just like that's like the added like booster. Like, he's so fucking cool. We have spent entirely too much of this podcast just gassing the fellas.
What else are we supposed to do?
Hey, I'm not complaining. Like, the fellas need love too. But I think this is per capita our most gassed in the fellas episode of all time.
Well, maybe we should let you not gas some fellas for a bit.
Well,
talk about the last game of the weekend.
Let's say, are we officially declared Jake Pacino?
Yes.
So there it is. First member of the Angry Shots Lacrosse Club in history of OTB, Jake Pacino. Shout out to the boy. Just an absolute piss missile of a
first angry shooter in the Angry Shots Lacrosse Club.
I'm so excited for that logo to get made, man. It's gonna be so sweet.
And
but yes,
maybe we start a fund or something to send every inducted player a t-shirt.
That's where my brain is at.
Just
That's where my brain is.
What do they?
Kyle Brandt for the inspiration.
What do they say? Great minds
think alike. But yeah, Denver Outlaws, hottest team in the league, 5-game win streak. They have a chance to clinch a playoff spot this weekend, which is massive. So we'll see how it all shakes out. But final game, Whips Water Dogs was probably the stinker game of the weekend. After all of the excitement and just back and forth we got in the first 3 games, this one kind of fell flat on its face. It felt like it was going, and then Michael Sowers got shut off by Ajax, and nobody else on the Water Dogs offense could really step up. My biggest takeaway from this game, Deej, as we watched it and just heard Matt DeLuca say in particular, like the Whipsnakes just were playing. Bless you. The Whipsnakes were playing with just more grit and more like they wanted the game. Like every single run out, they had more speed getting to the ball. They were playing with the intensity that like the game wasn't over, and the Water Dogs got super complacent. And this was by far and away, I think, the worst game the Water Dogs have played in the Bill Tierney era and potentially ever. It was just it went from such a high to such a low in terms of just like energy. They just like they sat on their hands out after Michael Sowers gave them a 4-0 lead. McConvey scores to make it 5-0, and then Aiden Carroll scores. Colin Heacock scores to close out the first half. Zach Courier scores the first goal of the third quarter, and then the Water Dogs go scoreless for over 20 minutes. That just cannot happen. And there's no excuses for what, like, and on top of that, like, Matt DeLuca had 10 scores against, saved 16 shots, and had a 64% save percentage in this game. And on top of that, I will also say, very similar to TD exiting with injury in the Redwoods Atlas game, you could tell a lot of the Whipsnakes offense got unlocked when Kenny Brower went out injured. And Kenny Brower's not playing this weekend either for the Water Dogs, which is a huge hit to their defense because Kenny has been unbelievable in his first season playing. But you could tell the Whipsnakes really took advantage of Kenny going out and the way he was playing them defensively, and they found their spots and they were able to score. Just an ugly, ugly game for the Water Dogs. The Whipsnakes found a way, and not that it was a great game by them by any stretch of the imagination. Matt Brandow just, answered Michael Sowers' 4-goal run with one of his own, and I mean that's how the cookie crumbles. Brad Smith hits that 2-pointer. The Water Dogs just refuse to shoot them on a accurate basis, and that's the bane of their existence. And they got to be better. I think they know that, and I'm intrigued to see how they bounce back after just a stinker of a game.
This was like the weirdest game of the weekend, because it looked like Michael Sowers was just going to run away with the game. He was going to score like 8 goals in the first quarter, and then that was just going to be enough.
It looked like he was putting a pin in the MVP race.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden, the game just caught up to Philly. And the Whipsnakes slowly put the piece together, and nobody else could score for the Water Dogs. Like, they literally just couldn't hit the net. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, and another really weird thing for me was, in my opinion, Connor Kelly didn't have his normal Fairfield, Connecticut spark.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not that he wasn't excited to be there, not that he wasn't playing hard or whatever, but like, it always seems like he was going in extra gear for the entire 48 minutes because he was in Connecticut. It didn't seem like he had that this year in this game. And it just seemed like Philly just didn't have what it took to score. And it's so weird because it wasn't like they weren't creating opportunities. They just couldn't finish them. And then on the same token, it was a string of mistakes once they started to deal with some injuries that led to man-ups that just made it way too easy for TJ Malone to find the right guys, i.e. Matt Brandow, 3 times in a row to just finish on the inside. And that pretty much sealed this game. But the main thing was, like Matt Dunn saying, and I asked him about it just for years, their main thing is just staying calm, staying collected, and knowing exactly what they have to do and going out and doing it and believing in themselves and knowing that you play from whistle 1 to whistle 0, until there's no more whistles left to go, until the clock says 0 as you play. And that's exactly what the Whipsnakes did this weekend. They were able to put all of the pieces together slowly. it started off slow, but then they just reminded themselves that, hey, the scoreboard looks one way, but we are so evenly into this game. This is one of the most even games to not pan out on a scoreboard I've ever seen.
Mhm.
And I think just that's really what kept the Whipsnakes in this game, and then able to eventually take the lead after finding that stride for, 8 goals in a row?
It was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points. Yeah, because the 2-pointer.
The
Brad
2-pointer.
Smith started
Yeah.
it. Yeah, and Brandow had 4 in a row to kind of close things out. But yeah, just an ugly, ugly game, to say the least. Which puts the overall standings going into Utah. Atlas at the top of the East at 5-2 with a +14 score differential. Even in the loss, the Water Dogs are still in second place at 4-3 with a +2 score differential. The Whipsnakes are in third at 3-4 with a +8 score differential, so they do move themselves up into a playoff spot with that win. And the Boston Cannons right now, if season ended today, Deej, they would miss out on not only Champ Series, but the postseason as well, because they are 3-4 with a -6 score differential. In the Western Conference, the Denver Outlaws are 5-2 with a +13 score differential. The Utah Archers bump back into second place at 3-4 with a -8 score differential. The Carolina Chaos are in third at 3-4 with a -16 score differential. And the California Redwoods are 2-5 with a -7 score differential. It is ugly in that Western Conference.
Well, hey, what I tell you before the pod? I'm just hanging on to the fact that all we got to do is tie Chaos, because that score differential, it's rough for them. We just got to win it. We just got to win a game.
Can we just talk about how we're at Utah weekend? So there are 3 regular season weekends remaining this season. There are 3 teams that are above 500.
It's a weird year.
It's a weird year. The parity is unmatched. Like it's weird, but it's also like I think the health of the league in terms of just like competitiveness and parity is at an all-time high. It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's what you want for a league this small that's growing. You want to see that every team can win and that every game matters. This season, I think, is going to scream every game matters more than the others. It's going to come like I think both conferences, the team that's on the outside looking in is going to be a game away, a few goals away maybe. I think we see some ties where score differential, it really plays a huge factor. So this really points out how important every single game is for the PLL.
100%. And as we move into Utah weekend, our PLL Salt Lake preview brought to you by our awesome PLL app code. Guys, there's no better way to keep up to date with the PLL app, with the PLL than with the PLL app. From articles from the beat writers, press conferences, behind the scenes videos, highlights, PLL fantasy, and so much more. The app is gamified, so there's something to do in the app every single week, every single day, quite frankly. And then you get awesome perks like PLL shop discounts. You get potential ESPN Plus free for a year. There's so many different things to do in the PLL app. Download the PLL app in the App Store, Google Play Store, or go to pll.app. And you can also go to the redeem code section when you do that and type in OTBPOD. That's OTB Pod in the redeem code section in the PLL app, and you will get 500 points on your account, 500 XP on your account when you use code OTB Pod in the PLL app. Keep up to date with the fastest growing sport on the planet and the PLL as a whole with the PLL app. Deej, your favorite city in the world, Salt Lake City, is here. And we got some fun games this weekend, to say the least. The schedule gets kicked off with the Redwoods and the Archers on ESPN Plus at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then it is the Maryland Whipsnakes and New York Atlas at 10:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus. Then on Saturday, 6:30 Eastern, the Carolina Chaos and the Philadelphia Water Dogs. That is on ESPN Plus. And then 9 p.m. on ESPN2 to close out Archers homecoming weekend, the Outlaws take on the aforementioned Utah Archers. What are some things you're looking forward to this weekend from these 4 matchups and what we could see as the Utah Archers will raise another banner in Harriman, Utah at Zions Bank Stadium, the home of the PLL bubble?
I think the banner raising ceremony, hopefully it is broadcast. And that will be something that would be cool to see. I think as that continues to become a thing over the years, it'll be more of a spectacle. So pretty excited to see kind of what that looks like. I'm sure even if it's not broadcasted, we'll see tons of pictures and videos of that on the socials. So really looking forward.
Hoots will be capturing photos for us.
Other than that, I'm really hoping the Redwoods can win this weekend. Like they tweeted it, and I totally agree. I think this is a must-win game. You're getting into very dangerous territories if you're 2-6, and everyone else is a little bit higher. Especially if Chaos turns out to win their game this weekend, then you're in trouble. But then not only that, if Atlas were to, or if the Archers were to win both of their games and Chaos win their game, now you're in a very deep hole. So I think that's the main thing I'm looking for is what can the Woods do this week against the Archers to hopefully get themselves back into it. Sneaky game of the week, I think, is the 10:30 game Friday night. I think the Whip Snakes have slowly started to figure themselves out and how they're going to handle the season. And then, I mean, the Atlas are looking like the team I thought they would be at the beginning of the year when I said they'd make a push to be in the championship. Well, I didn't even say push. I said they'd be in the championship game. They're starting to look like that team that's going to represent the East. This is going to be a huge game for them. I think they can either really separate themselves from the rest of the pack out East, or the Whip Snakes can make things a lot more interesting for everybody trying to hang on. And then Saturday is just a matter of either two teams trying to get back in the right step and stay afloat with Chaos and Water Dogs, or two teams really trying to, well, one team really trying to separate themselves and pretty much lock up their spot in the playoffs in the Outlaws.
Yeah. I genuinely think game of the week is the first game. Redwoods and Archers, like two teams that are chomping at the bit to try to like right the ship to a degree. I know the Archers won last week, but like they still are not up to the standards that they know they can be at. I think that's going to be a wildly entertaining game. And I hate that they posted about it, but the Water Dogs have never lost to the Chaos in the history of their franchise. We've seen records like that fall this year, though. So it's not a guarantee, but that's going to be a very fun game, too, I think, with the way Owen Hiltz is playing. That's going to be a fascinating game to watch with the Water Dogs and Chaos. And just kind of seeing how the Archers approach their homecoming weekend, what they can do against the Outlaws, that to me is like the pinnacle game of the weekend. Those two teams are going to be in for just an absolute battle. But a lot can change this weekend in the standings and in the overall just like playoff picture, especially with the Cannons being on a bye this week. Like they're just sitting back and watching and like hoping that the Whip Snakes crumble so that they can bump back into a playoff spot. That's the fascinating part about having like teams that are on late buys at this time of the year too, is like the Cannons can't do anything this weekend. They just have to hope and sit and watch to see where they're going to be coming out of their bye week in Denver next weekend. But this weekend's going to be a ton of fun. I'm looking forward to it. And Hoots on the ground, baby. We're going to get some fuego flicks from the boy. But I think this is a massive weekend for the Archers. This is a massive, like, gut check for the Water Dogs coming off of that deplorable loss. And this is a massive matchup for the Whip Snakes. Like, this is a rematch of the game in Philly where they came back and beat the Atlas and made them look very foolish, honestly. And we'll see how New York responds to it. And you've been on this train, Deej, and I'm halfway in, halfway out on it, where like the 1 seed is important, but it's also potentially harmful. I'm halfway in, halfway out on where I fall. With New York right now, like they could be closer and closer to clinching that 1 seed, and who knows what that does for them. Dox Aiken is back for them this weekend too. So we'll see, what that does, inserting a new guy into the lineup for the first time this year. Obviously, they know him, but it's his first time playing with this iteration of the team. So we'll see how the team chemistry is there against the Whips. But Denver, again, if things fall their way going into that final game, they can clinch a playoff spot, potentially lock up the number 1 seed in the West. And the playoff picture could start to take shape going into their homecoming weekend, which is the last time they will play until the playoffs, which is a crazy thing to think about.
Yeah, if you're Denver, I don't know that you want it. If you're Atlas, I don't think it makes as big of a deal. I think maybe you do want it because you haven't had a chance to rest since All-Star, and before that, week 2, I think, because they got the bye right after their homecoming. Maybe a nice little bye week here would be good for you. But then Denver, not having that bye week or having that bye after first for having first seed, maybe possibly a month off. It's a long time to not play lacrosse and then jump back into a playoff game. So that's kind of just something I have in mind, but who knows how they actually feel about it.
Yeah, we shall see. It's going to be a fascinating weekend. I'm very excited just thinking about it now. Let's get into one last thing, Deej. We do have a voicemail to play here, and you guys can leave us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/OTBLaxPod.
How we living, boys? It's Josh from the Lost in the Woods podcast. I just wanted to check in on you guys because I keep hearing all this stuff about Beyond Meat and non-alcoholic beer really destroying the PLL fans and, just rotting their brains. So, I just don't want you guys going off the rails on a crazy train. RIP Ozzy Osbourne. So I'll make sure to watch the video this week, but can you guys make sure to blink twice to let me know you're okay? And blink 3 times to let me know if you're being held hostage by Beyond Meat and Athletic Brew. Once again, appreciate all that you guys are doing. But yeah, just let me know you guys are safe, please, because it's just chaos right now, according to social media.
First things first, Josh, did you mean to send that voicemail like 2 weeks ago? Second, we are safe. Guess what? Just because a company sponsors the league doesn't mean you have to partake in using said product. There are plenty of sponsors that have sponsored the PLL that Deej and I have used and have enjoyed, and some of them just don't fit what we do, so we don't use them. It doesn't control our lives. I will blink twice here. I am fine. But yeah, the people on social media, just they're fucking nitwits. Bunch of doofuses, it just showcases the control that corporate capitalism has on people's lives, that they think they have to indulge in everything that's something that I don't drink alcohol at all. You don't see me like freaking out that the NFL is sponsored by Bud Light. It's okay to not partake in things if you don't want to. That's called challenge by choice, everyone.
Free will that you guys all scream about.
If you will.
Exercising the freedoms.
Good grief. Thank you for the voicemail, Josh.
I thought you were going to ask if I was crashing out about the Woods season yet. And the answer is yes.
Can't stand you. We are going to head on over to the Pick Pond and feed some ducks. It is the PLL Salt Lake City, Utah picks of the week, brought to you by our awesome pals over at Kenwood Beer, the official beer partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. It's a refreshing light beer, just 4.1% ABV, 120 calories, just 8 grams of carbs. You guys can go to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny Finder to see who's got Kenwood Beer on tap in the Philadelphia, New Jersey, Delaware, Pittsburgh, and Maryland areas. You can also get Kenwood Beer at your local liquor stores in those markets. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Must be 21 or older to do so. And of course, guys, as always, please drink responsibly. Deej, it is Utah Pick'em. I have Hoots' picks here in front of me. I will read those off prior to our picks each time, but we start on Friday night. Utah Archers, California Redwoods at 8 Eastern. Hoots is going with the Utah Archers. I, too, am going with the Archers in this one. The Matt Moore injury doesn't change anything because he was still on IR going into this game, so I just think from what I saw, and like I may have missed it, is TD active this week?
Yes.
Okay. So that's huge
But
for
I
the
think
Redwoods.
there was a second face-off guy.
I'll double check.
No, I don't think so, actually. Because I think Chase was right next to him on the roster.
So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle of a game. I just think, that home crowd going at it for
just
Utah.
Just TD.
I just think the home crowd is going to bring the juice for them, and it's going to be scrappy. It's going to be a battle, but I am going with the Archers to get the dub.
I mean, the record don't change nothing for me. We got on swinging. We roll until they can't roll no more.
Which I don't know why the music just stopped. So let me pop that back on. I was very confused. I was like, what is going on? Next game is 10:30 Eastern. Whip Snakes, New York Atlas. Hoots has New York getting the dub. I also have New York getting the dub. Deej, how do you see this one going down in an Eastern Conference showdown?
I also took Atlas as well in this one. I think their offense is just flowing at an unreal level right now. You got to find a way to stop that first before things can really go in your favor. I think even the Woods last week, they didn't really stop them. They just went goal for goal, which isn't really what you want to do there.
We can go goal for goal.
Are you going to be able to stop? Is Joe going to be able to replicate what TD did last week? Not that he can't, not that he doesn't have the skill. I think it's very hard to force a guy like Trevor to have 2 bad games in a row. He just had a bad game last week. Does he really have another bad game the following week? Not 100% sure.
And those two always go pound for pound against. It's always a battle between those two, and it's like an evenly matched battle. My thing breaks down to I just trust Liam Entenmann more in goal for the Atlas. Nothing against Emmett Carroll. I just think Liam gives you a better opportunity for clean saves, better outlet passes to move that offense in transition and get them rolling. And Dox Aitken is back, and he's a demon from anywhere on the field. I'm excited to see him back in action for the Atlas, so I am going with New York as well. So we all have New York there. We move to 6:30 Eastern. On Saturday, the Carolina Chaos, Philadelphia Water Dogs. Hoots is going with the Dogs. I am also going with the Water Dogs because I just don't think this team, with the veterans on this team, will fold under the pressure of a piss-poor performance last weekend. I think they will throw that game in the trash, learn from the mistakes that they made, and they'll be back and bounce back in this one in a big way. The big thing to watch out for is Jack DiBenedetto is in this one. How do they match up? Who do they put on Owen Hiltz? Will be the big key with Kenny Brower out. But I am going with the Water Dogs.
I'm going with the Dogs as well. For me, it comes back to experience. I think the Water Dogs just have been in this spot more than Chaos has. A lot of Chaos guys are still figuring out how to play in this league, where they fit on their team, what's it like to win and lose in this league, how close you can be to success, but also be so far from it at the same time. Those are all things the Water Dogs don't have to worry about or deal with. And honestly, I just have more trust in the Water Dogs offense right now than I have in Chaos offense.
Also, one lineup change this weekend. Charlie Hayes is in the lineup for the Dogs at short stick. Matt Witcher out. So we'll get Charlie Hayes back for the first time this year. Final game of the Utah Archers homecoming weekend. It's the Archers. It's the Outlaws. Hoots is rolling with his Outlaws. I'm also going with the Denver Outlaws. Like, the Outlaws are at a point right now where they have not given me a real reason to pick against them. The big thing that I will be looking for is how the Archers respond coming off of their first game. Yeah, I know last year they were one of the few teams that swept their homecoming weekend, and this Outlaws-Archers matchup during that weekend was electric. But this is going to be a massive game for both teams. I just think the Outlaws' offense is cooking at a level that the Archers don't really have. They haven't showcased the ability this year to be able to match, so I'm going to go with the Outlaws.
I mean, how do you go against a team that's winning 5 games in a row? I personally can't. So for me to sit here and say the Archers are going to go 0-2 this weekend and their homecoming probably means they won't. I'm not going to tell you which one they're going to win or which one they're going to lose, but I'm taking the Outlaws to win because they've won 5 in a row. So I'm going to say they're going to make it 6.
So there you have it. Hoots and I both have the Archers. Deej has California. We all have New York. We all have Philly. And we all have Denver. Going into this weekend, I am 13-15. Deej, you are 11-17. And Hoots is 11-17 as well in our records. And those are your PLL Utah picks of the week, brought to you by Kenwood Beer.
Don't forget, I'm just doing the Lord's work to make sure we don't all have the same picks and have a disastrous weekend. So if you continue to do well, by all means, you are welcome.
Here's one thing. We will touch lightly on this. It's been a long episode. A lot has popped up. You know, we had breaking news. We had a lot of stuff go down. NLL stuff is going on right now. You guys know how we feel about comments that get made by Jamie Dawick in the podcasting space of all places. I really want Hoots on the show with us when we talk about this because he has been very passionate about it, rightfully so. It pisses me off like no other when Jamie Dawick goes on these podcasts and talks the way that he does. I understand you're in a negotiating period. I understand, you know, you're on the other side of the aisle. We've said it time and time again. Deej, myself, and Hoots are wildly pro player. We will always go to bat for the players in these types of situations. I am just so fed up with like the holier than thou, mightier than thou mindset that Jamie Dawick has when it comes to these comments and this whole CBA issue. And there's a lot on the table with all of this that I still have to digest. There's been news that I have known about for a while in the comments he made about Albany, about Philly, about Ottawa, that I don't even know how to address it really at this moment in time. I've said it though. If the NLL cannot find a way to make Philadelphia work in a sports market as crazed as Philadelphia, and DG, you know it firsthand, how crazy and unbelievable this sports market is, it would be the worst decision the NLL has ever made. And that's saying a lot. If they were to uproot Philadelphia from being a market in the NLL. The CBA stuff, I just I just want to say I hope everyone enjoys this upcoming NLL season, because who knows where the fuck we go from here. It's going to be an unmitigated disaster if the mindset of the owners is where it is versus the mindset of where the players are. I just don't know if we're gonna have a season.
Why are you gonna say that to me?
Don't
say that to me.
It's just the unfortunate reality we're living in when you have an owner going on podcasts talking out of his ass the way that he is. It truly befuddles me how the NLL continues to shoot itself in the foot this way.
I mean, we've been talking about this for over a year now. When stuff really first started to trickle out, because we knew that this upcoming CBA was coming up. It's hard to defend him. Not that we don't see his points, not that we don't understand everything he's saying and where he's coming from, but it's hard to defend that when you're saying negative things at the same time. Like, if he just comes forward and is like, hey, look, like, we're acting the way, we're acting or bringing these certain concerns and stoppages to this new CBA agreement because we're worried that, we have 5 teams that we won't mention because we do want to, give them the benefit of the doubt and give them that space and time to figure things out. But we do have a selection of teams that we're concerned about their future, or we do have concerns about, how much money we're bringing in individually as owners, and if we're able to sustain moving forward and what recalculating expenses and such looks like that, perfectly okay. Then we can say, yeah, you know what? As bad as it seems, and we do think these guys should be making more money, Dowick brings up great points that they do have to look at and evaluate. But when you go out and you say things about your product behind their backs, and it's not even really behind their backs because they're seeing it too, but it's just like flipping 2 sides of a pancake that you're not really paying attention to. So you're really just burning both sides.
And if I'm a player, and I know people have been in my mentions saying Toronto's going to be just fine, players will still sign there, he knows what he's doing, I don't give a fuck. Optically, it looks fucking atrocious. And if I'm a player that's hitting free agency, why the fuck in my right mind would I sign with Toronto when he's out here talking about players like this? I'm sorry. Like, as a modern day player, I would be like, nah, fuck that. I'm going to go somewhere else that actually like values me as a player, values me as a person. I just don't understand the unmitigated bootlicking for a guy who is so vehemently out there shooting the product that he wants to uplift right in the foot, and just sounds like an absolute buffoon anytime he's in front of a microphone. Like, I just don't understand it. I will never understand it. And truly, like, I will never defend Jamie Dawick in these situations whatsoever, because he sounds like an absolute clown. And he sounded like a clown anytime he's been in front of a microphone. And if I'm a free agent, I am crossing Toronto off of my list. There's no rhyme or reason to want to play for a guy who owns a team that clearly sounds like he does not want to own a team in the National Lacrosse League anytime that he speaks.
And I wouldn't say he doesn't want to. I just wouldn't play for a guy that feels like we're being prima donnas, or that we're asking for too much, or that we haven't earned the things that we're bringing up, or that the concerns that we are addressing aren't valid because of whatever way he feels about us. That would turn me off from that team. Not that Toronto isn't a great place to play. Not that I wouldn't want to be in the NLL. Not that I wouldn't want to be a member of the Rock. It's a fantastic organization in its own. The organization. If you take Dowick away from it, everything else about the Toronto Rock, well, most things about the Toronto Rock are great. But when you throw that piece in there, I mean, I'm trying to think, that's like going to work for a boss that's like, yeah, I give you your paycheck, but if it was up to me, I'd take $5 off every hour because I don't feel like you work hard enough for that. Who in their right mind is going to want to work for that person? It's not that it's not that you don't like the company, because up until now, you've enjoyed your job until that person said that thing. So it's not that we're saying lacrosse players aren't going to want to play lacrosse or that they don't want to play for Toronto Rock. They don't want to play. We believe and don't think they should want to play for Dalwick, who has these outlandish views on his own product. That's the thing that blows my mind about it, is he isn't an outside guy looking in and going, oh, I don't know if I would pay these guys that. Like it's one thing when a casual or somebody that doesn't know a lot about lacrosse goes, yeah, I wouldn't pay those guys that much money either. Like, look, they barely, they don't really do much for the sport in terms of, they're not bringing in that many. That's one thing, because they're on the outside looking in. They have no way to enhance anything. They have no way to fix anything or make anything better. You, as the owner, have all of the means to create whatever it is that you are looking for. So to have this opinion on your own product that you can change and make better is insane to me.
Yep. And I mean, if you're bootlicking for an owner versus supporting the players that are the product, I just don't know what to tell you. Like, I have no response to what you attempt to tell me. So, no better way to cool yourself off, though, from a heated discussion about CBA negotiations in the National Lacrosse League than with our awesome partners at Rita's in Sewell. Deej, you guys can go to 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell, New Jersey, and tell them that OTB or Underground Sports Philadelphia sent you so that they know where you're coming from. Check out all of their delicious treats, from the Italian ice to the gelatis, blendinis, the concrete, and more. Plus, July 28th, that gummy bear flavor coming out of the vault. Very excited for that. You can go to ritasIce.com, check out all of the catalog of flavors, plus the nutritional facts to make sure that you're good to go with their delicious treats. Again, 288 Egg Harbor Road in Sewell, New Jersey is the place to be to cool yourself down this summer season with our friends at Rita's in Sewell. We thank them for being a proud presenting partner of the podcast. That is all we got for you guys. I know it was a long episode, a lot of stuff to cover. It was a fun one. Apologies for it being up late because we just had scheduling conflicts. Shout out to CFO Margie. Her birthday was on Thursday. We celebrated with the CFO all day, and it gave me a chance to kind of unplug and unwind. Deej is in an undisclosed location as he prepares to become an Avenger, getting recruited by Nick Fury.
I'm screaming, bro. You're so funny, bro.
You're at Avengers Tower upstate right now. It's okay.
You're so funny, bro.
Shout out to CFO. I know, that's why you're sitting. Shout out to CFO Margie. She is the best. Just truly a one of one, a gem of a human, and glad we got to celebrate her birthday down at the shore yesterday, down at the beach, bro, soaking in the sun, and I got absolutely burnt. I look like a Carolina Chaos jersey right now in some parts of my body. Make sure you guys are following us on the socials at OTB LaxPod. Follow Hoots at Hoot Sports Media. He is Hoots on the ground this weekend in Utah, covering PLL Utah weekend for us. So be sure to follow along with him there. Follow DJ at SCS_next great. Follow me at KBIZZL311. Subscribe to the pod, subscribe to the pod, subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. And subscribe to the OTB channel, youtube.com/@OTB LaxPod. And of course, guys, enjoy this weekend of PLL action. This has been episode 385 of the award-nominated, honorably mentioned, number 9 NCAA ranked, number 11 Philadelphia ranked, and of course viewable on YouTube, Outside the Box podcast, the official lacrosse podcast on the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast network. For future Avenger Coach Deej, I'm KB. We will see you guys here next week as we head into Denver weekend, the final weekend for the Denver Outlaws in the regular season. And we'll be on the interwebs tonight for PLL After Dark for all of our East Coasters. But until next week, we'll see you next week. Peace.
Peace.